everybody. Today we are talking about the 5 best methods for fat loss, and we're going to rank them in order. Before we get started, I did a fun little prop with this. I went over to Chat GPT, something that I've been experimenting with a ton. It's been around for a while now, but people used to ask me, what effect do you think Chat GPT will have on your industry? This is a common question to ask, or what effect do you think AI will have in general? This is a question that people have been asking for a while now. And for the longest time, I used to answer none. It won't have any effect on the fitness industry. And turns out I was just thinking about it in the complete wrong way. What I thought people thought it was going to do was going to take the place of trainers or just the gym as a whole. And the truth is that is never going to be the case. You can't replace a good trainer. But what it will do is simplify and help you build tools to make fitness and health easier and more accessible for more people, which is in the long run a huge and powerful and very good impact, in my opinion. I mess around with it all the time. I ask it a ton of questions. The more questions you ask it, the better you get at asking questions, and the more that you realize you can ask it. So there's always a debate about what are the best methods for fat loss. If I were to make a list, it honestly would have looked a lot similar to this. I probably would have had a couple things out of order, and I'll get into that. But I went on to ChatGPT and I typed in, what are the top 5 methods for fat loss? ChatGPT takes all the information it can find on the internet, research, all of it, formulates all of that, reads it, analyzes it, and then comes up with an answer. So here's what it said. Coming in at number 5, I'm going to work in reverse order here. So this is the 5th best method for fat loss. Consistency with the 80-20 nutrition method. Okay, this is something that I've actually talked about a lot before. The 80-20 method is basically 80% diet, so single ingredient foods or whatever diet you're on. I'm not a huge fan of the term diet, so I like to just say single ingredient or whole foods. So things like chicken, steak, fish, fruits, veggies, rice, potatoes, just things in their simplest form. Comes from the earth, or has a mom and dad. That's a single ingredient food. So 80-20. 80% single ingredient whole foods and 20% flexibility, whatever you want. So if you like to go have a cheeseburger or you like a milkshake or whatever it is, you can have that 20% of the time. So consistency with that 80-20 diet was number 5. And here's what it says, why it works. You need a plan to stick to. All or nothing diets don't last. I could not agree with this more. When someone says, oh, I'm on the keto diet, that's great. That's awesome. You know, if it helps you lose weight, then power to you. But what about when the diet's over? Did you learn how to actually implement real skills into your life? Like, is it going to be sustainable? The best diet, in my opinion, and probably what any nutrition or diet coach on the planet would tell you, is the best diet is the diet that you can stick to and actually implement into your everyday real life, which is why I love this answer so much. I definitely think it should be in the top 5. And I actually had it slightly above number 4. Number 4, daily movement, in parentheses, steps and cardio. I love this. I would have had cardio at number 5. This is one of the biggest myths, in my opinion, in the entire fitness industry. People want to lose weight, they want to lose fat, and they hop on the treadmill. It's fine. That's totally great. I'm just stoked for people to be at the gym. I'm stoked for people to start looking into fitness and taking it more seriously. But the truth is that is just probably, even as ChatGPT would say, one of the worst things you can actually do to lose weight and lose fat, which is what most people's goal is. Why it works, you are burning calories when you are on the treadmill or doing cardio or daily steps, whatever it is, you are burning calories. But those calories are easily replaced when you eat, drink, whatever it is that you do. So those I like to think of are temporarily burned calories. Okay. And I like to keep cardio and the step thing slightly separate. I think having a step goal is a great way to add to your total daily expenditure. So for someone who, through passive movement and whatever activities they do, they burn a total of 2,500 calories, let's say. If you're walking 10,000 steps a day, that's an extra 600 calories that's burned just from walking 10,000 steps. So that would be tacked on to the 2,500 for a total of 3,000 to 3,100 calories. So that's raising your total daily energy expenditure. Cardio would be looked at as I'm going to hop on the treadmill and, run a mile, run a couple of miles, and I'm going to just burn 200-300 calories. And you're not doing that every day, whatever. Maybe you're doing that a few times a week, and people use that as a method to lose weight. It's not a great method because you're going to do that and then you're going to eat and you're going to drink things. And if you can do that and maintain a deficit, then that's great. But in total, it is just not the most efficient way to actually lose fat or lose weight. Number 3, I probably would have put this at 2, but here it is, strength training ahead of cardio. Yes, it is a better method. I think pretty much any trainer, diet coach, nutritionist, probably even doctor would agree with this. Here's why it works. Muscle burns more calories at rest, and lifting will prevent muscle loss while you are actually on whatever diet it is or whatever eating method that you are losing to lose said weight or lose said fat. So there's something called a BMR. This is your basal metabolic rate. And this is what, if the best example I ever heard is if you're sitting on a couch for 24 hours straight, you just sat there and you didn't move at all, your body would still actually burn calories. And this number, your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, is what it would burn if you were to just sit still at rest for 24 hours. What would it be? So for example, me, I'm about 6'1" and I weigh 180 pounds. I have a decent amount of lean mass, muscle. My BMR is around 2,000. It's like 19,060, something like that, the last time I checked. So if I were to just sit all day, no matter what, I didn't do anything, I would burn about 2,000 calories. Okay. When you lift weights and strength train, you build muscle, which means your BMR goes up because muscle burns more calories throughout the day. It needs more energy to work, to be in motion, to help you live. So the more muscle mass that you have, the more calories you're actually burning day to day. So if you build muscle, you will quite literally burn more calories and lose weight throughout the day. It's like an investment account. You lift weights, you build that muscle, and over time it works harder for you. So someone had a BMR of 1,500. They started lifting weights. They were consistent. They built some muscle. They could quite literally raise their BMR to whatever. I was making up a number, 1,700. Okay. 1,700. That's 200 calories more burned per day just at rest than 1,500. Over the course of a week, that's 1,400 calories. Whereas, and that's just passive. Whereas if you're hopping on the treadmill, it's pretty damn hard to burn 1,400 calories even in a week, especially when it's just going to be replaced by food and whatnot. So this is raising your overall total daily burned. Okay. I'm going to read what it says also on here for number 3, where it says strength training. Pro tip: fat loss isn't just about cardio. Lifting weights gives you that lean and toned look. I love that it mentions this because a lot of people, they don't just want to lose weight. They want to look toned. And what toned means is that basically you lose some fat and you build a little bit of muscle so that your muscles become slightly more defined. I've mentioned this before, but for men, this typically means in the abdominal region, arms, back, things like that. For women, this means the lower extremities, legs, glutes, etc. You get the point. So muscle or lifting weights will actually help you get that toned look that a lot of people talk about. All right, number 2, talk about this all the time, a high protein diet. I love it. It basically says the exact reasons that I would have said and have said before on Instagram or whatever it is. Protein keeps you full. Basically, it satiates you. If you're eating large amounts of protein in every meal, I'd shoot for 50 to 60 grams per meal. Good way to calculate it is just 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I weigh about 200 pounds, 180, but I shoot for 200 grams because I'm trying to build more muscle. It keeps you satiated. no one eats 12 ounces of chicken and is like, I'm still hungry. It's just a simple fact. It says, pro tip, anchor every meal with a quality protein source like chicken, eggs, Greek yogurt, or protein shakes. So this is a great thing to do when we're eating ultra processed foods or things that have tons of ingredients. They are quite literally engineered to make us hungrier, and they basically shut off systems in our body that detect when we're full or satiated. So it's like when you open a bag of chips, you think you're just going to have a couple, but next thing you know, the bag of chips is gone. There's things in that chips or in the chips that are built to basically make you become addicted and keep eating them. So when you're eating high protein foods and also single ingredient foods, it's natural. Our body will ingest it. You'll detect that, hey, I've eaten this and I'm full. I don't want any more. There's kind of like a funny thing I've heard some great trainers say. They say, try and get fat off of a high protein, single ingredient foods diet. It's just not really possible. It's really difficult to overeat high protein foods. Top of the list, I'm sure a lot of you guys could have guessed this one, is a caloric deficit, plain and simple, eating less than what you burn. This is straight up the best method to lose weight, lose fat. Like I would have said, would have switched the high protein diet with strength training. I think the high protein diet is very important, but overall, if you're not lifting weights, you're not building muscle. The caloric deficit, basically going back to that total daily energy expenditure. If, workouts, steps, whatever it is you're doing in total per day, you're burning 3,000 calories, a caloric deficit would be anything under 3,000, excuse me. So this could be 2,950, this could be 2,900, this could be 2,500. Obviously, the greater the deficit, the faster you'll lose weight, but something you do need to take in mind and consider is that diet fatigue is 100% a real thing, and cravings will kick on if you turn that deficit into too big of a gap. Okay. So I know typically they recommend a 200 to 300 calorie deficit, somewhere around there, and then you can slowly build up a little bit more. But you do need to kind of give your body time to adapt to that deficit, because it's hard the first couple of days. I have trouble right now sometimes when I even eat 200 to 300 calories less. Like, I can definitely tell your energy levels will be a little bit lower. So you do that for a few weeks, become comfortable with it, and then you can drop it down a little bit more if you're trying to lose weight. I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of the bullet points. It said why this works. Fat loss only happens when you're in a consistent energy deficit. 100%. There is no negating that. You need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. How to apply. Basically what I said, eat 300 to 500 fewer calories than you burn daily through food and activity. Pro tip, I love this one. Don't starve, just eat smarter. Track calories or build meals around whole foods to manage portions naturally. Back to the whole foods things again. It's extremely hard to overeat them. And if you are looking to lose fat, lose weight, maybe build a little bit of muscle, looking for that toned look, I think this list and Chat GPT are an amazing tool. Okay. To kind of summarize it, you would eat in a slight caloric deficit with high protein meals to help keep you satiated and fight a little bit of that deficit off. Maybe you won't notice it as much if you're building meals around chicken, beef, fish, things like that. Try and stick to as much whole foods, single ingredient foods as possible. So this means, like the protein we talked about, veggies, fruits, rice, potatoes, things like that as sides, and high protein. Yeah, high protein diet. One gram per pound of body weight is a great place to start. Strength training 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, 45 minutes to an hour, basic full body plan. If you don't know what that means, you can watch my last video. I go over everything about full body training. It's, in my opinion, the most effective and most efficient method for probably 98% of people. Daily movement, steps, cardio when you can squeeze it in, obviously not as your main tool, and then the consistency with the nutrition. So there we have it, our top 5 list for fat loss according to ChatGPT. You guys, if you don't agree with this list, if you think something is missing, if you think it's out of order, comment, drop it below. I'm super curious. I want to know. I agree for the most part. I would make a couple of exchanges like I talked about in the video, but I'm super curious to hear what you guys think. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.